Tonight we'll talk about oil and money. Indian refiners are buying Russian oil with Yuan.
Chinese yuan that seems to be emerging as a hot alternative for the American dollar.
Now, India's import of cheap Russian oil reached a new high in the month of May.
Reports say India is paying Russia in the Chinese currency, the yuan.
The Indian Rupee hit a fresh record low today before ending the day just above the psychological level of 80.
The yuan has become the most widely used currency for cross-border transactions.
Well, media reports show that the Indian Rupee is getting closer and closer to being a currency that can be used all over the world.
Hi everybody, on 11th of July 2022, the Reserve Bank of India made a very bold announcement whereby domestic traders could settle their imports and exports with Indian Rupee. And this was a very big deal because India could directly trade with Russia without depending on the American banks. So in spite of the rising oil prices, we could buy discounted oil from Russia in Indian Rupee. And as citizens of India, we were delighted to see this because we saw this as a gesture of India bravely standing against the West and a giant leap to take Indian Rupee global. But exactly 1 year later, there is something unpleasant that came to our notice. Turns out this strategy has failed to an extent where now Indian traders are buying Russian oil not just with dollars and dirham, but even with Chinese yuan. Yes, you heard that right. Indian Oil Corporation, which is India's biggest buyer of Russian crude oil, became the first state refiner to pay for some Russian purchases in yuan. And at least 2 of India's 3 private refiners are also paying for Russian imports in yuan. And as much as it is important to appreciate and celebrate the good moves by India, as citizens of India, it is equally important to follow up on them and see if there is a tangible output coming out of it. So in this episode today, let's do a deep dive and try to understand what was RBI's strategy behind bringing this system, how has this transaction been working out, why are Russian traders demanding the Chinese yuan and dollars instead of the Indian rupee, and where did we fail in this initiative? This video is brought to you by Chat GPT plus Communication Masterclass course. People, if you are somebody who struggles to speak your ideas out in public, if you are somebody who lacks the confidence to speak in public, or if you are somebody who often mumbles while presenting your thoughts, I would highly recommend you to join our Communication Masterclass course. This course is a 6 weeks course whereby I will take you step by step from a beginner's level all the way up to a TEDx level presentation skill. The best part is that if you have any doubts, I will personally talk to you during our weekly live sessions to help you overcome every fear you have. Cherry on the cake, you will also get special access to the Chat GPT module whereby I will teach you how to use the secret prompts in Chat GPT for storytelling, for business research and even English speaking. This is why now it's Communication Masterclass plus Chat GPT course put together. So if you also want to master your art of communication and if you want to present your ideas in the most powerful manner possible, come join our Communication Masterclass course using the link below. And I will see you in the live session. The first thing we need to understand is why did RBI make this deal with Russia? And there are 3 reasons behind it. Number 1, the West banned Russia from the SWIFT network and froze its dollar reserves. So Russia could not use dollars to trade. Secondly, when Russia started cutting oil and gas and started hiking its prices, oil and gas prices all across the world started rising. So because of this, even though we were not involved in the war, India was paying a hefty price for the fuel. This caused inflation in India and our economy got affected. This is when Russia offered to sell oil to India at a discount.
India recently accepted Russia's offer to purchase 3 million barrels of crude at a discounted price.
Global oil price is well above $100 per barrel. That is a real discount that Delhi's taking advantage of. India is the 3rd biggest consumer of crude oil in the world.
Now, India's import of cheap Russian oil reached a new high in the month of May, surpassing the combined purchases from Saudi Arabia, Iraq, the United Arab Emirates, and the United States.
This is how our oil imports from Russia surged by 1,144% and our fertilizer import surged by 303% along with other imports. So the question over here is, what was the problem with the system and why is it failing? Well, to understand this, we have to understand the fundamental functioning of the rupee-ruble process. Now, if you remember how it works from our episode 1 year back, please skip to this timestamp. If you don't, let's understand this using a story. Let's say a Russian company wants to trade with an Indian named Akshay Kumar without going to SWIFT. So now the Russian company will have a Russian bank account which has money stored in rubles. And this Russian bank will also have an account in the Indian bank where they would store the money in Indian rupee. This account is what is called as Vostro account. So it's basically a bank's bank account held by a foreign bank. In this case, it's a Russian bank's bank account held in the Indian bank. So now, if Akshay Kumar wants to import sunflower oil from a Russian company, here's how this transaction will work out. Akshay Kumar will pay 5 crore Indian rupees to this Russian bank account in the Indian bank, which means the Vastro account will get 5 crore Indian rupees. Then, since the Russian bank has 5 crore Indian rupees in its Indian account, assuming exchange rate to be 1.5, this Russian bank will use its account in Russia to pay the sunflower oil trader a converted sum of 3.3 crore ruble. This is how the Russian trader gets 3.3 crore ruble in his bank account. Now mind you, this would also involve commissions from both the Indian banks and the Russian banks. So in reality, he would get 3.33 crore ruble minus commission charges in his account. Similarly, this Vastro account will also be used for exports. So let's say a Russian company wants to import tea from India. So the Russian company would pay 100,000 Russian rubles to the Russian bank. Then, since the Russian bank has Indian rupees stored in the Vastro account in the Indian bank, that Vastro account would pay 150,000 Indian rupees to the tea company. This is again assuming an exchange rate of 1.5 for simplifying the calculation. And just like last time, the commissions will be deducted on both sides and the remaining amount will be transferred. This is how we started buying Russian oil at a discount, and the Russian traders started using Indian rupee to make the transaction. So this is a great system, right? No need to use SWIFT, Russia got paid in spite of the sanctions, and we are getting discounted oil. So what is the problem with the system, and why do we have to use Chinese yuan? Well, turns out the first problem we have is the lack of international usage of Indian rupee. So as of 2022, Russia is said to have nearly $147 billion worth of Indian rupees. So like we saw in the diagram, they have to buy $147 billion worth of goods from India to use this money. And only when they buy these things from India, they will have $147 billion in rubles in their account in Russia. But the first problem we have over here is the massive import-export gap. If you see this graph in 2021, while we imported goods worth $7.9 billion, we exported only $2.8 billion worth of goods to Russia. So the gap between import and export was $5.1 billion. But then in 2022, this gap widened to more than $25 billion. This means what? From last year's trade alone, Russia had $25 billion worth of Indian rupees after buying everything it could from India. And now this $25 billion is stuck in the Indian bank account. So as time passes, Russia will have hundreds of billions of dollars but will not have anything to buy in India. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, the Chinese yuan started winning against the Indian rupee. So if you look at Russia's trade relationship with China, it is far better than India. With China, even though they have a $38 billion deficit, while we exported around $3 billion worth of goods to Russia, China exported around $75 billion worth of products to Russia. That's about 25 times more exports than India. In fact, if you look at the Indian exports, 3 out of the 5 exports from India have gone down because of the payment settlement uncertainties.
Russia doesn't buy very much from India. Total exports are just around $2.8 billion. They're down 11% compared to 2021.
2022-23 until January, imports have been 15 times the exports.
Exports fell to $852.22 million from $1.34 billion in the same period. This was because of an inadequate payment settlement mechanism.
We accumulated billions of rupees on the accounts in the Indian banks, and we need to use this money, but these rupees must be transferred in another currency, and this is being discussed now.
On top of that, while RBI has an agreement to trade in rupees with just 18 countries, China has an agreement to trade in yuan with 100 countries. So even though Russia has $38 billion in yuan, it has the flexibility to not just trade with China, but with 100 other countries. So now the question over here is, Russia can't trade rupees with other countries, that is fine. But why don't Indian companies quickly set up shop in Russia and sell products over there? Well, this is because, again, we have two major disadvantages. Well, firstly, China is so close to Russia that they can easily ship goods to Russia via train. And if you remember from our BRI episode, they already have a railway line from Russia to China. So it's very quick and economical for China to ship products to Russia. But if we have to ship the same products, we'll have to send them by ship, which will both take longer and cost more. Secondly, China manufactures products at such dirt cheap cost that it is almost impossible for India to compete with Chinese products in majority of the places. In fact, you must have seen this very well during Diwali, when a Chinese Diwali light costs 600 rupees and the same product, if it's made in India, it costs around 1000 rupees. So long story short, Indian manufacturing does not have the scale or cost efficiency that is even remotely close to China. So we first have to beat China in India and then go to Russia. But this is where the third option came up, which is for Russia to invest in India. As in, Russia could invest in Indian bonds or infrastructure such that over time, the Indian bonds can pay dividends to Russia. At the same time, we could have $147 billion to develop our nation. But again, there were two problems over here. First of all, if Russia has to invest $147 billion in India, it is a terrible proposition because Russia needs liquidity to fight the war. In fact, Russia's defense budget for 2022 was $68 billion. So why would they lock in 2 times of their defense budget in a 5 or 10-year bond, and that too during war? Secondly, even if they decide to invest in a 10-year Indian government bond today, they would achieve a yield of 7%. But if you look at this graph, in the past 3 years itself, the Indian rupee has depreciated by 20%. So do you see, the depreciation of rupee is turning the bond into a loss-making asset. Plus, the capital needs to be locked in for 10 years, which is again downright stupid for Russia right now. So clearly, this isn't a viable option for them. And if you're somebody who wants to understand how this currency war happens, then I'll attach the entire playlist in the description. And this brings us to the last option, which is investing in Indian infrastructure. But again, just like bonds, capital needs to be locked and the returns are too low to justify the economics. This is the reason why Russian traders are demanding for Yuan instead of Indian Rupee, because the Indian currency strategy has become a currency trap for Russia. Now what's important for us to note over here is that even UAE has recently agreed to trade in rupee. But if you look at the equation that we have with UAE, it's very similar to that of Russia. We have a trade deficit, our exports are not so competitive, and our currency is volatile. So if major countries like Russia and UAE lose trust in the Indian rupee system, it will cost us very heavily in the long run. And this teaches us 3 very important things that we need to build on as a country if at all we intend to become an economic superpower. Number 1, we need to build a manufacturing hub that can beat the economics of China. And unless we do that and increase our exports, all other moves might just fall apart. Number 2, in order to achieve the manufacturing goal, we need to have foreign direct investment. And for foreign investment, we need to increase the ease of doing business in India. In fact, very soon I'll share a case study with you that will help you understand what exactly is India doing to improve its ease of doing business. And lastly, as citizens of India, as much as it is important to be optimistic and appreciative of the good moves of the government, it is equally important for us to keep track and follow up on the grand announcements so that our understanding of the country is not driven by sensational headlines but by unbiased data. So keep an eye on the UAE currency agreement and let's see how that shapes up. That's all from my side for today, guys. Now you can find all the study materials in the description. If you learned something valuable, please make sure to hit the like button in order to make YouTube Baba happy. And for more such insightful business and political case studies, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.